Good morning, beautiful sunshines. It's Callie. It's the day after. It's the day after the bell ringing. We're going to have a conversation about rainbows and looking up. Before we do that, say good morning, sunshine in the comments. Hashtag GMS. Maybe if you want to put 3 butterflies for Whit and John, you can do that because that's amazing energy, right? All of the transformation we've been through. And then anything that you're grateful for. I'm grateful for where we're at in our journey right now after the last year and a half or 16 months, not year and a half, but just everything that we've been through and where we're at now, which leads me to the conversation of rainbows, right? So I have always, since I was a wee tot, been like a pretty driven being, as a gymnast, I always wanted to get the next skill, hit the next level. As a student, I always wanted to make sure that I maintained my A's. I wanted to, crush every assignment. Getting my first jobs, I was always looking towards like, how can I do more? How can I do better? How can I move up? Whether that was in real estate, my businesses, Herbalife, everything I've been very much so like a striver. And in fact, so much so that God continues to offer me lessons in relaxation and pause and breathing. So if that's you, if any of you guys are like the movers and the shakers, like sitting is hard, right? Then you're going to be very related to this conversation. And sometimes for those of us who are like that, we have a hard time slowing down to celebrate. Anybody else? Like taking the moment to pause to see what you've been through and where you're at and just celebrate the moment can be like overlooked. In fact, I think about this level that I achieved when I was in Herbalife. It's called President's Team. It's like the top 1%. It takes people sometimes like 10 to 12 years. I don't know what the rate is now, but like over 10 years to get there. I worked my butt off for two and a half years, less than 2.5 years, and accomplished this goal, right? And like the day after, I was like, what's next? Like there was no celebration. This is me, right? You bust your butt, 18-hour work days. What's next? Let's go. Let's move, right? And I found myself in the same placement. Good morning, Michelle, with our last 16 months of our life and Witten's treatment and everything. And just a couple days ago, I was like, how do you feel? I'm like, I don't even know how I feel. How do you feel when your 2-year-old rings the bell? And since he was 1.5, since he could barely even talk, all he knows is chemotherapy, hospitals, pokes, ER visits, overnight stays. That's what he knows. And for the last 16 months, that's what I've known as being a caretaker and dropping work and all the things. So I'm like, okay, so like we're going to be stepping into this point. Good morning, Valerie, where so just to kind of like paint the picture, what it's looked like for me is that we know that we're going to be at home or in the hospital for half of the time for the last 16 months. Half of the year is going to be spent in the hospital or at home avoiding germs, right? Trying not to get sick. And the other half of the time, every single time we do get courageous enough to leave, it's in footsie pajamas and my son wants to go home very quickly, except for a couple locations. So for this whole time, our life has been very much meant to be here with certain conditions and certain things, right? It's been quite the rodeo. And now I look at like stepping into like what's next, you guys. He has surgery tomorrow or Thursday. And then after that surgery, we don't go back to the doctors for 3 months. And I'm like, what do I do with my hands? So I start to tell myself, I'm like, okay, so what's next, Cal? Right? What's next? And the crazy thing is we've just been through the wildest storm of our lives. And there is this incredible rainbow over our home, figuratively, maybe literally at some points, right? Over our home. And instead of me pausing to look up, this is the message I'm getting, to look up and like be like, you know what's next? Lay in your sandpit and look at the rainbow that's above you from the storm that you guys just endured, right? Stop, pause, rest, be, enjoy. And I'm like, but what's next? What am I going to do next, right? And I think some of you guys might be like, what's next for Callie? Like, what is she going to pursue? Because it's going to be freaking incredible. I know whatever it is, because that's what we get to choose, right? We get to choose the freaking incredible. But the message that I've gotten, and this is the only thing that I have to share on here, is like, right? I think it was right after the bell ring or right before, we were like walking down and I was just like in a place in my heart where I'm like, God, what's next? What's next for me? And the words I heard were serve others, help others. That's what's next, Cal. You're going to help others. But right now be here. And the next message I got last night where it's like, okay, like what can provide me with some support? And I pull cards, right? So I asked God and all of my team, my spirit squad, like what should I focus on next? And the card I pull is stillness. I'm like, okay, clear, right? Let's just be here now. because why am I trying to be there when it took us so long to get here? I wanted to share this message with you guys because there's probably something that you're going through in your life, or that you've gone through, or that you will go through, where you survive whatever storm it is, and there's this gorgeous rainbow that's been created just for you and the life that you've just endured, right? Persevered through, stormed through, and we want to just move to the next. And it's really important, talking to myself, to slow down and just get to be. And I know what's coming is going to be exciting. And I know what's coming is going to be like full-hearted, and it's going to be beautiful and wonderful. But right now we get to be here and just checking out the rainbow. So guys, if you're not good at celebrating, pause to celebrate. It's a really important part of your life process. And it is one of the most beautiful parts. And it's, just acknowledging that it's not weak to slow down and stop. We talk about this a lot now, right? And to just be. In fact, that is one of the greatest strengths that most humans can overlook. Okay, good morning, sunshines. I know. We're playing dinosaurs. We're doing all the things. I've got all of the bell ringing photos. It was an amazing day full of celebration. Everybody who came to chemo with me, I had a lot of chemo partners. Not a lot of people bring that many different humans to chemo with them. So all of my chemo partners came over yesterday, so I could just acknowledge and celebrate with them. And of course, some of our family, and we just got to do that and be together and wrap our arms around each other. So I don't know why I'm joking. I'm choked up. I'm all choked up. Really though, I'm actually just choking. So I'll share more of that later, you guys. Thank you. Love you. Love you. Love you. Don't forget to stop, look up, acknowledge your rainbows, because you guys have made some beautiful rainbows by persevering through some storms. Perspective reveals miracles. There's a fly there. Love you guys. Talk to you tomorrow. I love you tomorrow.